The Dogpoint Podcast, Episode 16. Today's episode, small things turn into big things. But before we get there, I want to give a huge shout out to all our listeners in Trinidad and Tobago, the USA, Canada, Great Britain, Ireland, Australia, Sweden, Germany, Uganda, and others. All you guys are amazing. I would have never thought that it will reach so far. To our topic, small things turn into big things. Very much true. And we have a lot of dog owners that let dogs get away with small things because one, they might be cute, or they perceive them to be cute, or they're not seen as all that important. Okay? What do I mean by that? Little things, a dog is being cute, not doing something, not lying down, or not stopping to paw you, which is really a demand on the dog's part. That's why it should be corrected. It's not really cute. Your dog is demanding attention from you, and your dog should not be in a position to demand anything from you, right? Because if you let it happen repeatedly, the dog thinks that you're a pushover and will take more and more liberties and become more and more challenging until you can't tell your dog anything without him growling at you or snapping at you. So you can see how small things turn into big things, right? A little pawing can lead to you visiting the emergency room, which is of course not what you want. It's not cute either. Another thing is, a lot of dog owners repeat commands unnecessarily. So they say, Fido, sit. The dog is not doing it. And sit, 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 sit. Fido, sit. Come on, Fido, sit. And all that does is teach your dog that it's okay to ignore you. Again, small things lead to big things. At some point in time, the dog is not sitting on command at all, because he has learned that there's no consequence for doing this, and that you're happily ignoring him and then still reward him when he eventually sits. Say a command once, and if he's not doing it, but he has learned what it means, then make him do it. You have to show your dog that he has to do it. It's not a matter of choice. Yeah? That predicates, of course, that you have taught him what sit means. I'm not advocating that you hold your dog accountable for something he hasn't learned yet. Right? Let's be clear on that. Climbing up on furniture. So your dog can just jump on the couch that you're sitting on at will, and you tell your dog nothing because you like it when he watches TV with you. That is good and nice, but the dog should wait until you invite him on your couch. Why? Small things lead to big things. If the dog feels it's okay to just jump up on the couch whenever he feels like it, one day he's on the couch and you want to sit down there too, and then he starts growling at you because he finds you should not be sitting on his couch. And then you do what? So in the case of a large breed dog, it was cute when he was a little puppy, and now he's 120 pounds and he's growling at you. Not a situation you really want. So correct the little things if you don't want to experience the big things. Right? Similar, pushing past you in doorways. That can actually be detrimental to your dog. If you open the front door and he just rushes out, because when he was smaller it was okay, and now it's not, because now he has added some reactivity to his behavior and he reacts to squirrels, and he sees one across the road and he pushes out your door, crosses the road, and there's Mr. Truck. Not something that you want to see. So teach your dog, when you open a door, the dog has to sit next to you and wait for you to tell him that it's okay to go out. Small things lead to big things. Always. All big problem behaviors started small, all without fail. And they only got bad because a human allowed it to get to that point. Right? It also leads to letting those things slide repeatedly, leads to a lack of respect that the dog will have for you. If the dog knows that you hold him accountable for all those things, he will have a lot more respect for you. And life is a lot better for you and the dog. But if you don't do that, let's say you're somewhere with him off leash, out in a field, and you call him and he completely blows you off because he says, I want to investigate something. Now you have a race. You're doing an involuntary 5 or 10K, trying to get your dog back. Not what you had in mind when you wanted to go for a walk with your dog. And then there's also other ways where small things can lead to big things, and that is this. So you hold your dog accountable, you're doing all those things, but your spouse isn't, your siblings aren't, your parents aren't, your grandchildren aren't. Everybody has to be on the same page doing the same thing for this to work. Because the dog might listen to you, but when you're not home, he's listening to nobody else because everybody lets those things slide. Small things lead to big things. So you're the only person that can control the dog because you're the only person that he respects. And you're the only person that he listens to. Not because he doesn't know what to do, but because he has learned that there's no consequences from the other family members and that they don't hold him accountable. So why should he listen? If he knows he can get away with not doing it, why should he listen? So you have to make sure that the entire family is on the same page and everybody does the same thing. Another reason how this can creep in, if you had a busy day at work and you come home and you're tired and you don't really feel you have the energy to hold him accountable for something small, that can happen. But if it happens more often, because if you let it slide once and he still listens after that, then it wasn't so bad, right? So it could happen again. It's okay because the last time nothing happened when you didn't do it. Over time, small things lead to big things. One day you come home and he's not listening and he's blowing you off. And you wonder, how did this happen? Because you started to let things slide and you started to let it creep in and you didn't arrest it when it started happening. Or another reason, you feel sorry for the dog. And this goes to all my rescue people. Because a dog had a traumatic past does not mean that in the present or in the future you don't hold your dog accountable for when it makes mistakes. Don't feel sorry for the dog because of its past. Your dog does not live in the past, your dog lives now, in the moment. And if the dog thinks that you're not enforcing anything, it will not feel sorry for you when he misbehaves. Small things lead to big things. Your rescue is not going to feel sorry for you when something happens. So treat a rescue dog like any other dog. Of course, you're not going to present triggers to this dog to give it PTSD, but that's not what I'm talking about. But you can hold a dog accountable. I do it all the time. I volunteer time at the shelter and work with these dogs all the time. Why they listen to me? Because I treat them like any other dog. I don't harp on their past. I deal with the dog that is in front of me at the time, with the behavior that it presents to me at the time, in the moment. Just how the dog lives in the moment and behaves in the moment. So what are the solutions to all these problems that are outlined? 1. Be consistent. Always hold your dog accountable. If you have taught the dog something and you give a command and he's not doing it, hold him accountable. If he's not doing it, make him do it. Make sure that your family is on the same page. Have that conversation with everybody. Explain to everybody why it is important that everybody needs to be on the same page. They will understand. At the end of the day, everybody wants the dog to listen to them. This is the way to make it happen. So explain that to them. If you do that job correctly, everybody will do the right thing. Don't take shortcuts. If your dog struggles with something, Find out why he struggles. Maybe you didn't teach something correctly. Maybe you didn't make it something clear to the dog. Find out what it is. At no point in time is it the dog's fault. If a dog struggles or a dog misbehaves, that is always on the owner. Because either something was not taught properly, or something was not enforced properly, or something was not made clear enough to the dog. The other thing I can say is train every day. Do something with your dog every day, even if it's just 5 minutes. If you do that, you won't get the big problems. If you work on the small things right from the start, enforce your commands, say them once, make the dog do it if he doesn't listen, you will not get the big things. He will just get a obedient dog that is a joy and fun to live with. Isn't that what we all want? I leave you with that. Until next time, no drive, no joy. Have fun with your dog.